KT McFarland, Fox News national security analyst, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. KT, good morning to you. Put all this to the side. Your singular question is, what were we doing in Benghazi in the first place?
Nobody has asked that question.
Why is that so important?
Because it speaks to the whole Middle East policy of the Obama administration. You know, we went into Libya, had a Libyan war, got rid of Gaddafi, and then what happened? Jihadi chaos in Libya. It wasn't a democracy. There's now jihadi chaos throughout the entire region. So the question I want to know is, what were those guys doing at that consulate? You know, in the State Department, a consulate is where diplomats work, and they issue visas, and they look for tourist lost luggage. They don't walk around with special forces. They don't have a lot of weaponry there.
So go ahead and answer your own question.
Okay.
What's your theory?
Here's the rumor that has been swirling around for the last 2 years, is that they were running guns, is that the Gaddafi forces, Gaddafi had a lot of weapons. He had particularly shoulder-fired man-pads. They're weapons that can, one man operates them and you could take down a helicopter with them. Those all went missing after Gaddafi was overthrown. The rumor was that these guys were in Benghazi, these former Special Forces guys, because they were looking for those weapons. What were they doing with those weapons? Those are all the unanswered questions.
If that is true, where does that lead?
Well, that leads to, what were they doing there? Were they taking those weapons and then dismantling them? Were they taking those weapons and they were sending them on? If so, who were they sending them on to?
That's a covert operation.
That's a covert operation. That's the Iran-Contra. Were they running guns to the Syrian rebels?
Is that where you think this hearing is going?
I don't know
where it's leading?
Is going. But listening to Trey Gowdy, he's not talking about Hillary's emails and the server and whether they were classified. That's another investigation. He's talking about, what was the policy? Why was there no security given, even though it was asked again and again and again for more security? Why was there no rescue mission the night of the attack? Why, after the Benghazi attack, was the administration saying, well, it wasn't really a terrorist attack, it was just a riot that got out of hand? And so all of those questions have still not been answered.
Okay, now, Mike Pompeo was on this committee. He was talking on Sunday, too, and he mentioned that word from the 1970s. Watch.
You mentioned Watergate. Mr. Schiff actually compared this committee to Watergate in a New York Times op-ed. But this is worse in some ways, right? Secretary Clinton tried to hide every one of her emails. She destroyed 30,000 of them, and now we have an FBI investigation of those very emails.
You were working in Washington during Watergate.
I was working in the White House during Watergate.
Is that fair to say that now, even before a hearing?
I think so, because at the end of the day, Watergate was about a break-in gone wrong in the Democratic National Committee, and Richard Nixon had been participating in the cover-up. So that was a political thing. The Benghazi Committee and the Benghazi investigation shouldn't be political. It should be, what happened to American foreign policy? How did we get this so wrong? I mean, how have we gone from, at the beginning of the Obama administration, the United States was the sole superpower in the world. We controlled events in the Middle East, and by the end, we're now leading from behind. We're not leading at all.
Well, to be clear on that, Nixon or his aide or someone erased 18 minutes on a tape, right? And what Pompeo was talking about is 30,000 emails that had been deleted. We'll see if they can or cannot be recovered.
Recreated.
Put all this to the side. Regardless of what happens on Thursday, whether there's a bombshell or new evidence, the FBI ultimately has a say in this case, and that's significant.
That's the most significant of all of this, and that's where it's quite similar to Watergate. The Congressional Watergate Committee investigated, but the real evidence was uncovered of wrongdoing was done by special prosecutors, and it was through the legal system. The FBI isn't going to be partisan. Director Comey is a straight shooter. He's not going to play this politically one way or the other. They're looking for evidence. They're going to look, and if they find something, that's where charges would be brought, potentially, if they ever were.
All right, thank you, KT. We'll be watching it every day, right? Gowdy said, you don't know what we know, and we're about to find out what he knows. KT McFarland, thanks.